5 highly implausible outbreaks that actually happen. Never suffered from penis panic? Count yourself lucky. In Singapore, there's even a name for it, Coro, which a 1969 Singapore Medical Journal article describes as a disease characterized by the sudden delusion of penis retracting, accompanied by intense panic. The most famous outbreak occurred in October 1967, after a newspaper reported that some people developed Coro from eating pigs inoculated with anti-swine fever vaccine. This led to thousands of reported cases, and the epidemic was only quelled by a media blackout and a campaign to reassure men that retraction was anatomically impossible. The dancing plague. Dancing mania, aka St. Vitus's dance, was first recorded in the 7th century and reappeared multiple times over the next 1,000 years. The most famous incident took place in Strasbourg in July 1518, where a woman named Frau Toffia began to dance in the street and continued for several days. Soon, others joined her, and by the end of the month there were around 400 people dancing uncontrollably, many of whom died from a heart attack or exhaustion. Doctors declared the dancing plague a natural disease caused by hot blood, though it seems likely this was another case of stress-induced psychosis. Now here's a tricky one to pronounce: the Tanganyika laughter epidemic of 1962. In 1962, 3 schoolgirls at a school in Kashasha, Tanzania began laughing uncontrollably and couldn't stop. Their contagious laughter quickly spread throughout the school and eventually began to affect neighbouring communities, with several schools having to close as a result. Reportedly, the laughing epidemic lasted between 6 months and 18 months before it finally died out. However, its name is misleading, since other reported symptoms included pain, fainting, flatulence, which can't have helped with the laughter, respiratory problems, rashes, crying attacks and random screaming, suggesting this was in fact an outbreak of anxiety-related mass hysteria or mass psychogenic illness. Oh, now this one doesn't sound too great for being down the pub. The sweating sickness, also known as the English sweat, began in England in Tudor times, before spreading into Europe in a number of epidemics that occurred between 1485 and 1551. Much like a traditional flu, the sweating sickness had different stages, a cold shivery stage and a hot sweating stage, unsurprisingly, but it could kill in hours. Symptoms included shivers, dizziness, headaches, pain in the limbs, exhaustion and a sense of apprehension. Curiously, unlike other plagues, this one was more common in the rich, making it difficult to blame the virus on filth and non-existent sewage facilities. And finally, the 1918 flu pandemic, otherwise known as the Spanish flu, La Gripe or Spanish Lady. One of the deadliest outbreaks in human history, the 1918 flu pandemic killed more people than the Great War, infecting 500 million people across the world and reaching as far as remote Pacific Islands and the Arctic. The virus killed via a cytokine storm, an overreaction of the body's immune system, and had the unusual effect of turning its victims blue, sometimes so blue in fact that doctors were unable to determine the patient's original skin colour. You're watching Ask Men, I'm Matt Chappell, and this has been Knowledge Flex.